Join me as I take on the challenge of hooking a few nice mangrove snappers right here in this saltwater creek. I'm just a few football fields from the Atlantic Ocean on a windy day with high Atlantic seas, so watch me fish in these strong tide changes in this creek. It's a beautiful day to go out on the boat and wet a line looking for mangrove snapper. Today's bait of choice, frozen shrimp and SilverSides. The difficulty of channel and creek fishing on a center console boat when you don't have a trolling motor, such as me, always adds to a challenge. Keeping your cast ring circle within the distance of the mangroves to ensure you can cast beneath them, where the big ones are always laying. Wind and current changes while on anchor, so ensure you have room for the boat to swing so you don't end up in the mangroves. As soon as I was anchored, I put a block of chum in the water. Although I don't always find this to be super helpful in these creeks, it seems to only attract very small bait fish and not the targeted species. Occasionally I'll see or catch a mangrove, but they're typically very small when they're near the chum line. So I always use smaller rods and reels, a light line. I'm using 20-pound braid and 20-pound fluorocarbon with a small 1/8 ounce yellowtail jig to start. Later on I switch over to a small hook, which is much more effective. Always just use enough weight as necessary to target the cast location. I casted probably about 5 or 6 times with that yellowtail jig, was not effective. Kept getting bait snatched, so I decided to put a small hook on. So I grabbed the old Cast King tackle box, which I might add I absolutely love. Got some real small number 4 hooks, circle hooks. Tie them on the line with a piece of shrimp, and we're going to try that, which ended up being way more successful. Started catching fish as soon as I changed this rig to the small hook. Typically I only put enough weight on just so that I can get to my cast area. As you can see, the boat swung out in the center of the creek there a little more. I'm trying to target that opening over there that I pointed to by the mangroves. Trying to cast into that general area. I've seen some activity back there where I'm pointing, some fish breaking the water, etc. So that's where I'm trying to get to. I think I add a little bit more weight on later so I can get there. A lot more activity. I can get to my desired location with the bait. So stand by and you'll see some hookups. One long after changing that hook, first cast, immediately got onto a fish. Nothing spectacular in size, but for creek fishing, it's a pretty good hit. So putting up a little struggle with me on this pretty light action rod and reel. So we get that on the boat. Wasn't really sure what that particular fish was, so I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, I don't think that's a snapper. My wife's taking some pictures, trying to ID it. I'm not sure what it is. So I ended up, I pulled out my FishID app, got it identified here. It was a grunt, a sailor's choice grunt, pretty nice size one, but didn't want to keep that, so it gets released here shortly.
And he swam away. That was cool.
So threw a few more times, didn't have any success. You can see the boat swung around. I'm still at the same anchor point. We're just about at high tide, so the wind's kind of controlling where the boat's going, not much current, but I can flip right underneath them mangroves. So we give this a shot for a while, and we get on a couple more fish here momentarily. So wanted to show you what happens to the boat. That's why I was kind of a little bit beyond my casting range with light gear and lightweight. So I end up swinging around because of the tide, and then I can get right in them mangroves. Stand by, we'll get another hook up here momentarily. As soon as that boat swung around, that first cast, I was right under the mangroves. As you can see, I got on a fish immediately. I believe that is a mangrove snapper, the targeted species. So, not a bad little fish. Not big, but fun nonetheless. So it didn't end up keeping any that day. It really wasn't out to keep any, to be honest. So threw that one back, and we'll get back on them again here momentarily. I did end up pulling out my FishID app. I just wanted to make sure. Don't fish on the backside as often, don't recognize these species as well. The FishID will give you all the local regulations based on your GPS position. So in fact, it was a small mangrove snapper. Kind of what I was going for. When you're a weekend fisherman, anything that's on the end of the hook's a good day. So we got that one on board, kind of gave him a measurement there. I think he was pretty close to being a keeper, but there again, really wasn't into getting any food. For the table tonight on this particular day. So using circle hooks are very easy to de-hook. I just use pliers. I don't use a de-hooker. You just turn the hook and they fall right off. So let me get you on another one here momentarily. So I took a little break, had some Powerade, got some SilverSides out, thought, try down along this edge here. There's a little creek coming out there to my right, which I just pointed at. SilverSides kind of rough. Forgot my salt. I like to put salt on them. They don't fall off as easily. So they're usually a great bait to use, just difficult to keep on the hook if you don't salt them. I just dumped some coarse salt in a bag with them, and just going to try to get it back here underneath them mangroves. So not too bad of a cast there. Just you can see the tide starting to go out based on all the grass and debris. There's like a grass ledge there that I just cast it against underneath the mangroves. So eventually I get on a few more here. So let me show you a good hookup. I am letting the free spool go so that it's floating in the water. Just have a small sinker on there, just a clip-on sinker. That same small hook with the silver side, just letting the current take my line. You can see a lot of fish here behind the boat. I did move the chum bag over to the starboard side because when the boat swung. So got a little chum slick going there again. I don't necessarily find it great. And you can see I missed that one. It's very difficult about SilverSides. You get one and done chances, because if you don't get a hook set, they come off the hook. So let me get us on a fish here. So I threw a good many casts with SilverSides. They were falling off. I was getting short strikes. Very difficult to keep them on the hook. So I went ahead and decided to move back to shrimp. Pretty much using the whole piece. I was kind of pulling the heads off that were soft anyways, and just kind of center hooking them. Nothing too fancy. Small hook, same rig. So we're going to throw that same way. Just throw it back there as close to the mangroves as I can get. And just toss it in there. And you can see I'm getting pretty lucky. I'm within a couple feet of the mangroves there, and the current's ripping it. So I just kind of free lined it, let it go, and waiting on a bite. Sometimes I slow roll it, if I'm not getting any action, just lay, turn, slow turns, and see what happens. So I wanted to show you that I did change baits, and then we'll get you on a fish. So you can probably notice the boat swung again. That's due to wind. Got a pretty heavy wind blowing. You can see the ripples in the water. Threw it up under that mangrove. Got a pretty good hookup. This one bending the rod tip, getting a couple shakes from the head. Pretty fun little fish to catch. Decent sized mangrove. So got him on board. Checking him out. There again, circle hooks, pretty easy. Get a couple video pictures, show the wife she's playing a game, not paying a single attention to hooking with Bob. So got a little video there, and then we're gonna release that one, and let's see what else we can get on.
We'll let this guy go. He's pretty. Little mangrove snapper. Circle hook. Bonk. And he swam right away.
So I'd been fishing about a half an hour and just kept getting bait snatched. Did get a really nice cast right there under that mangrove in that little hole. You can see I'm just free lining. Got a piece of shrimp on here. Let it go for a while, but I wanted it to stay in that hole. Lo and behold, got a hook up. Pretty nice one here as well. Light tackle. A lot of fun catching these fish, especially when it's windy and there's 4-foot seas on a 22-foot boat. So did get another one here. I believe that's another mangrove snapper. So fun little catch, nothing spectacular, but hey, anything that bites the hook's okay in my book. So let me get this unhooked and we'll get this thing finished up.
Getting a little bigger.
So I decided to go ahead and measure it just for fun to see.
That one's actually a keeper.
So just shy of 11 inches there. Not a huge fish, but fun to catch nonetheless. So let me get this thing unhooked, and there again, circle hook, pair of pliers, always the way I do it. You don't have to take the slime off the fish, and it's good. I also got myself a picture of that one. It was a pretty decent size one. So that was kind of the catch of the day. We're going to get a picture of this, get it released, and then we'll finish out this video for you.
That's a pretty nice one. Not bad, not bad at all. All right, enough pictures. Let him get back there swimming away. See you, buddy. Man, they don't hesitate. They just...
So typical fisherman. Oh, how about one more cast? One more cast. I think this was about the third more cast. But it's hard to leave when you just caught a fish. So I did end up throwing back in and caught this little guy there again. Fun little fish. And usually when you use them circle hooks, they just catch right there on the edge. That one I probably should have grabbed a hold of. Had too big a piece of shrimp still on there, and he didn't want to fall off like typical. So I did get a hold of this one and get rid of it. So we'll be right back.
All right, so we've been out here, I don't know, 2 hours or so, caught however many fish that is, 4 fish, 5 fish. Something to do on a weekend when the ocean is a little bit too rough for a 22-foot center console, but hopefully you enjoyed my videos, and as always, if you enjoy this video, a like, subscribe, and notification would be much appreciated. Just an average fisherman out here trying to share some of my catches, some of my tips and tricks, so hopefully you enjoy. Have a great day and God bless.